Do 26 is on the anterior midline at the junction of the upper third and lower 2/3 of the philtrum. Large intestine 20 is located in the nasolabial groove, level with the midpoint of the alanasi. The alanasi is the nostril. So find the superior border of the nostril, the inferior border of the nostril, hence the midpoint, and come out into the nasolabial groove. Stomach 1 is located inferior to a pupil looking directly forwards in a depression between the eyeball and the infraorbital ridge. So to locate this point, you need to actually stand in front of the person, have them look towards you, and mark your point in a depression between the bone and the eyeball itself. Gallbladder 1 is located very approximately half a cun lateral to the outer canthus of the eye. Palpate laterally to find the lateral orbital margin. Mark your point just on the edge of that orbital margin. Be careful not to move back into this fleshy area because there are other points here. Bladder 1 is located 1 fen medial and superior to the inner canthus of the eye. If a person scrunches up their eyes, a nice depression forms here, and that's where you're going to find bladder 1. Extra point seal hall is on the anterior midline on the glabella, directly between the medial ends of the eyebrows. Bladder 5 lays half a cun posterior to bladder 4, which means it's 1 cun into the anterior hairline. This makes it on a level with Do 23. Bladder 4 is located half a cun into the anterior hairline, 1/3 of the distance from Do 24 to stomach 8. Bladder 4. Do 21 is located on the midline, 3.5 cun posterior to the anterior hairline and 1.5 cun anterior to Do 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cun for Do 20. 1, 2, 3 and a half for Do 21. Do 20 is located in relation to the midpoint between the glabella and the occiput. Place the heel of your palm on the glabella and the occiput. Fold your fingers around the skull to find the midpoint. Do 20 is located 1 cun posterior to that midpoint. It typically lies in a nice dip. There are several other nice dips slightly further back, which are other Do points. So don't be tempted to go further back than 1 cun posterior to that midpoint. To locate gallbladder 20, palpate up the groove in between the sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles. As you get to the base of the occiput, you will find a nice depression. Gallbladder 20 is in the centre of that depression. Large intestine 19 is directly below the outer margin of the nostril on a level with DO26.
DO14 is on the posterior midline below the spinous process of C7 in a depression. Large intestine 4, you're going to find the length of the second metacarpal bone. So running your finger down, finding the base, making sure that you're not actually on the carpal bones themselves, finding the midpoint of that shaft of bone, coming between the first and second metacarpals, nearer to the second than the first in the muscle.
Large intestine 11 is located at the midpoint between lung 5 and the prominence of the lateral epicondyle of the humerus. Typically, this is at the end of the transverse cubital crease when the arm is fully flexed. Sanjiao points on the forearm are best located with the arm laying flat on the bed and the elbow turned outwards. To find Sanjiao 5, come 2 cm proximal to Sanjiao 4 in between the radius and the ulna. You should be on the radial side of the tendon of extensor digitorum communis. If the person wiggles their fingers, this tendon will come into relief. Small intestine 3 is on the ulnar aspect of the hand. It's in a depression which is proximal to the head of the 5th metacarpal. It's in between the metacarpal bone and the muscle, and it typically lays on a level with the distal palmar crease.
Pericardium 6 is on the flexor aspect of the forearm. It's 2 cm proximal from pericardium 7, and it's in between the 2 tendons palmaris longus and flexor carpal radialis.
Lung 7 is located 1.5 cm proximal to lung 9. It's located just a little lateral to the main line running from lung 9 to lung 5, in a cleft between the tendons of abductor pollicis longus and brachioradialis. It's located just at the base of the flare of the styloid process of the radius. In this position, the point is just about visible on the corner of the arm. If you locate the point too radial, it's falling onto the yang surface of the arm. Bladder 67 is the lateral nail point of the little toe. Be sure to mark it clear of the nail bed. Stomach 44 is located half a cun proximal to the web margin between the second and third toes. This point should fit nicely into the flare of the base of the proximal phalange of the second toe. Stomach 36 is located approximately 13 cun superior to the prominence of the lateral malleolus on the anterior border of tibialis anterior. The easiest way to find it is to palpate down the tibial tuberosity. Find the base of the tibial tuberosity and move slightly laterally until you fall into a nice dip on the anterior border of tibialis anterior. This point is also 3 cun inferior to the inferior border of the patella.